Absolutely a 5-star prospect. Absolutely a guy in my mind that is in the conversation for the top player in the class. Um, he can run. He can play inside out a little bit. He's got a good baseline of skill that I think is really going to flourish. He's kind of in this weird thing where on his high school team, he probably had to play a little bit more interior based because, it's high school and you don't have as much size. And then when he gets out here in the summer, there's sometimes where I liken to it. He's got to feel a little bit like a pitcher who's given up a lot of home run balls because he just keeps going like this as the guards keep jacking up shots around him. You know what I mean? And it just maybe not being featured quite as much as you might think a guy of his talent would be. But that's how it goes. Basketball's a guards game. I said it before. If you were to go and watch college highlights of Jarrell Arthur at Kansas, I think that they would give a really good window into what I think to expect out of Gigi Jackson during his time in North Carolina. Now,
love player comp. I love player comps.
I probably could have done you guys a little bit more of a solid and done a little bit more hunting to find a more North Carolina specific one, and not a guy that they had to play against during the 2008 Final Four. But the way they move, the way they run, I think Arthur's probably a little bit better shooter. Gigi's a little bit more athletic, a little bit more vertical pop. But I just think when you watch the inside-outside ability, just to me, watching Gigi, I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm transported back 15 or 16 years in time when I was watching Jarrell Arthur at South Oak Cliff High in Dallas. So, look up YouTube highlights of him from college. I think he's a good example. Yeah, so I'm not concerned about his shot really all that much at all. Structurally, to me, I think it looks pretty good. It's a matter of game repetition, game situation repetitions, and also just sometimes these young big guys, they think they can shoot it and they want to shoot it. So they get a little bit of feels like leather syndrome. They catch the ball at 18 to 20 feet and they got something that feels like leather in their hand. So they're going to let it fly, right? Because, hey, I got my touch. We talked a little bit earlier, sometimes, Rob Dillingham's, the Aiden Holloway's, those guys like to get their tugs, like they get their FGAs per game. And, that's just their game. That's nothing against those guys. That's how they play. That's what you sign up for. If you're Gigi, when you go play with those guys, is you got to know that they're going to take their shots. And there might be some times where the more viable play might be to go through Gigi, but that's just how those guys play, and you got to let them rock. But I think in college, he's going to be taught the value of a good shot versus a shot just to shoot. There's a big difference between all of that. And I think as he learns a good shot, as he learns the speed of the college game, I think that, is he going to be Ray Allen? No. Is he going to be, Karl Anthony Towns is a shooter? No. But he's going to be very, very respectable. And it is going to be something that I think as he moves on through his basketball career is a really important part of his game and a very valuable part of his game.
Well, let me jump in real quick. Sean took a derivative of the question I was going to ask, but I think one thing fans have to realize is that, when you have someone with Gigi's pedigree, the likelihood that they are in Chapel Hill for more than 1 year is slim, or in college for more than 1 year is slim. So understanding that he is still an ascending talent and that he hasn't really fully grown into himself yet, his best basketball won't be in Chapel Hill. I think that's a fair statement to say. So in his 1 year at UNC, what are the strengths that you think UNC staff should try to accentuate or highlight that Gigi has?
Yeah, that youthful exuberance. I think the guy's got an energy about him that he plays with that comes with youth, and it comes with unspoiled youth. I think sometimes one of the biggest issues that we have with these young players who've been ranked highly and have been courted by shoe companies and this and that, or now today are being courted by NIL collectives or what have you, is a little bit of an arrival on campus feeling that they've already made it and that they've already done it. One of the things that I like about Gigi is I don't get that sense at all from him. It could be a bad read by me. Maybe that changes with time, but to me, he seems to be a pretty grounded kid. His family seems to have done a pretty good job of keeping a lot of outside influences that could distract him away from involvement. And that's really, really key. So if I'm Hubert Davis, I'm the Carolina staff, I'm tapping into the things that he doesn't know about yet, and making sure that he doesn't learn about them. And just like, hey man, you play hard, you use that energy, that exuberance you have. We're going to let you play through some mistakes. As long as you promise us that you're going to crash the glass, that you're going to try and block some shots, that you're going to finish in transition, you're going to finish lobs, and we'll give you opportunities to step out and take shots when they're available, as long as you promise us that you're going to play through the standards that we have set for you first. So, you set a guideline of here's how we expect you to play. If you do that and you do it with energy, then we're going to give you freedom on top of that. And then I think you can really tap into a young player like that. And like you say, I agree with you, Strobel. So many of these guys, their best basketball is not going to happen on a college campus. It's going to happen 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 years down the road. But the way you get the most out of them is to encourage their strengths, show them and teach them how those strengths can be used best in your system, and then let them know that, hey, if you do what I ask of you, I'm going to then in turn give you some freedom to do some of these things that you feel you need to do to showcase your game, and it'll be a win-win for all of us.